Hi, welcome back to My Life with Plants. I'm Newman, and we're just going to have a look at some orchids that I brought in for the winter and see how they're going, so stay tuned. Okie dokie. I've got my glasses on so I can actually see. It doesn't make sense, does it? And then so I can see up close, that's what I mean. This one just had a water. This is Cattleya lundii, and lundii has a lot of new growth. It's got 1, 2, 3. There's like one right in there. 4. So it's starting to grow now, and it's much healthier. It actually likes water. Didn't like the heat on the balcony. There was over 35 degrees. So it got to about 36, 37, which is about 105, 110 Fahrenheit. It was just too much. So this one will definitely be hanging under the trees this summer. And the sphagnum moss, just one tip that I've said many times before. If you do use sphagnum moss, you can use it. It's a good medium. It makes nice healthy root system. It's nice and airy and light, and it won't rot the roots as long as you just use an inch, about an inch deep, and the rest of it you use styrofoam chips. Not bark, nothing like that. You don't want all the sphagnum all the way down to the bottom. That's what causes the rot. They're epiphytic plants, orchids, so just remember, keep the roots shallow and all will be fine. So lundii is a miniature Cattleya from Brazil. It climbs along branches, forms big mats along branches in the jungle there, and it has masses of tiny little Cattleya flowers on it in mass, so it's really something to see when it's grown much larger. So it did have some dieback with its latest bulbs during that summer heat, so I didn't quite like that. It's not like these jumbo Cattleyas that actually don't mind that super heat, but this one does, so got to keep it cooler. And why is it growing now? It just seems that I dropped my phone. It just seems like the little orchids take the opportunity to do some growing when it's cooler, which you don't blame them. I mean, it is hard to grow when it's very hot. And this one I've introduced many other times, and I forgot to check its name again. This is Bifrenaria tyranthiana, something like that. If you look in there, you can see how healthy those roots are. This is a true lithophytic orchid. Lithophyte means that it grows on rocks in very shallow sandy soil in between notches and cracks, where it's very shallow rooted. It's not even an inch deep with sand, or less than that, and it just survives on bare rock in its native habitat of central Brazil, where it has very dry winters, but probably not that dry, because I think during the night time it would have fogs that roll in that just give it enough moisture, because this definitely puts out a mature that bulb where all these roots are coming out. That was done over the summer, all summer long, and put out that growth, and it's only just finished maturing, and it's down December. And then once it's matured, it puts out its new roots, and those roots are hungry for water. So I'm pretty certain that it says that it's bone dry there, but I'm pretty sure that a certain amount of moisture does reach it. This one was seen many times before. It is Dyneema polybourbon, and this one has a fantastic root system starting up. It's medium. You can actually see, if you look closely, that moss is growing there. And one sure way to check if the medium is fresh enough is to give it a smell, and it smells completely clean. There's no odor or anything, not even one little bit. It's just like smelling a fresh rainwater. It's that clean. And the reason for that is that I do use dolomite lime, which keeps everything fresh and clean, also promotes good healthy bulbs and leaves because it's full of magnesium and calcium, and that is what's been keeping these leaves super healthy. And to prove a point, well, not prove a point, this is just a result of the dolomite lime, and people have been using it for 180 or 100 years, or even probably even longer, just because the minerals that orchids get it contains, they need that in their growth. So these are the latest leaves on this Maxillaria variabilis, and these are all clean. These leaves are clean, but when I wasn't using the dolomite lime, this had all black tips on it. All of the older growth, all the older leaves that have all dropped off, they were all blackened, and that's an imbalance in the pH because of fertilizer, and they need fertilizer. They just need the special ingredient of dolomite lime that puts the pH in a nice happy medium around 6. Sorry, not 6, about 5.5 or 5 pH, and fertilizers become much more available to the root system. Let's move these succulents over, because up here it's a surprise. You can see this big sheath here. This is on my jumbo Cattleya, and the funny thing is, well, you know, I've only been growing orchids for 5 or 6 years now. It all started with that mini one right there. That's where I learned everything about how to grow orchids, and by the way, it's doing really well. The thing is so packed with bulbs. So this one I bought about almost 2 years ago now. This is its latest growth. This is its bulb that I put out during the summer, and you can see there that it is the biggest. The tip there has gone black, and that is not heat or anything that did that. What did that was, being a typical Cattleya, they produce a new pseudo bulb or a cane, and until it fully matures and puts a sheath out, only then you'll start to get new roots. You can see these white roots coming out. They tend to come out during the winter, I notice. Not so much in the summer, but in the cooler season it'll start pushing out these roots, and you can see them right there. and having a lack of roots. Well, it has a lot of roots in there, but it didn't have any fresh new roots, and I think it just didn't have quite enough oomph to push the minerals right up to the tip of the leaf, which caused it to go black there. That's what I think happened, because now we're getting the roots here. This actual new growth is really rocketing compared to that one initially. And when it did put out the sheath was completely empty, and I thought, this is a dud. It's not going to produce any flowers, but I learn as I go. And once it did put out the sheath, it's taken the next 3 weeks or even longer, and now I notice that it's fattened up. So it actually put out the whole sheath first as a complete sheath, and then it's only just started to construct its bud within that pocket here. It's protecting it, so it's definitely in there. So I'm looking forward to it, and it will be a big jumbo sized flower. So you know those jumbo sized Cattleyas, and it'll be a nice bright yellow with a purplish labellum, and the fragrance kind of reminds me of boat orchids or cymbidium kind of fragrance. So I don't have any, this is the only large one I have. I really can't have any more than that. Don't have any space. So once it does flower, I will show you. But this leaf is a lovely color, along with the nice big bulb that it grew during the summer. So everything went well. This one will return back to the balcony. A lot of others will not. This Cattleya Iracolor ex-sibling will be going out under the trees. It got stressed a little, but actually not too bad. I think I'm put on the balcony again because it did construct the whole new bulb here. See it? It actually put that one out, so that it was getting pretty close. This Cattleya here did have bought 2 bulbs, and so did my Cattleya Kyoguchi Happy Field. That one does not like anything over 100 Fahrenheit. You can see right there the remnants of the bulb that tried to grow, and then you can see the new one here. It's quite happy to grow new bulbs in the winter and do the flowering later. This one will be going under the trees. Denema polybourbon, this Cattleya lundi. It's not that hardy to heat, and however Bifrenaria loved the heat, and it's going back there. This one here, Min Gold, will still struggle along to get on its feet. It's been having a bit of a battle there, but it wasn't my fault. It was a sick orchid when I bought it, but it has produced one over here. They have yet to get better roots on them so that it makes the whole plant survive. This is a big massive clump of a Vanda orchid. Like, where is your name? Name tag is somewhere. There it is, it's at the back. Let's see if I can reach around and find that. Vanda Lion Star Falcata crossed with Sagaric Gold. So it's got lovely vibrant orange, goldy orange flowers on this thing. Even though it's crossed with Vanda falcata, it is not hardy like falcata. It takes after its other parent, so it doesn't like cold, which is a shame. So that hybrid didn't work out the way that they wanted to. They're looking to make hardier orchids. This one up here has to come in too, and it's also crossed with Vanda falcata, which is the native Vanda, and this one is green lantern or green light. So there's lovely pale green flowers. It's still in the moss ball here, and I just wrap this nylon net around it and let the roots dangle. Yep. Down here you will see a lovely big one of two of my isn't it funny how names just don't come when you want them to? These are come on, brain. Why does this happen to me or everybody? Oh, come on. Brasovala, little stars. There we are. This one's doing really well. It's starting to put roots onto their cork mount. Goody goody. And this one right here is Nodosa. Drops 3 leaves, which freaked me out a bit. But oh well. The rest of it is really healthy. It just has to grab onto that mount better. It's going to take time. I did mount it a few months ago, before the summer. And one orchid that always shows me it's happy, and it is Cattleya beringiana, and you can see that that is its new bulb, that knobbly thing there, and that thing will swell up to about, it'll swell up into a little smaller than a ping pong ball. And as it's doing that, it puts out new roots, and the roots are just amazing on this thing. All of these white roots that you see all the way around it were last year's growth when it pushed out its new pseudo bulb. As you can see here, it's still got the sheath on it, and it's gone all the way up. How do you tell a beringiana is it has a kink, so when it gets to the top of the growth, it'll put out, it'll kind of go out sideways like that with the second leaf on it, and the first leaf on the straight part. It's almost like hinged, and it flowered very nicely. And when it's starting to grow like this, it loves water, so it dries out pretty quick, and it isn't sphagnum moss. And I have to water this, you know, once or twice a week in the winter, and it has crept to the edge of the pot. So the next thing I'm going to do is to repot it, but I will not take it out of the pot. I'm just going to put the whole pot onto a bigger pot, and then put the mix sphagnum moss around that. I won't disturb it, and I only do that the following winter, not this winter. Though I should, because that growth, will it make it? I think it will. It'll make it. It's got space there, but definitely next year it's got to go in another pot. And being a bifoliate, according to what everyone's been saying, this would be the best time to repot it, and it is winter. It's putting out the new growth and new roots, so it's the right time. And I wouldn't try to dig it out of the pot. I would just put it in a bigger terracotta pot. Might just be taking a risk, upset the orchid. Okay, these mounts are getting along pretty well. You can see this one that I bought, and the new roots are coming out really well, nice. This Rincon Stylus Gigantea has a nice big fat root grabbed onto the branch. This is just the basket on its side, filled with pumice in this nylon bag so it doesn't all drop out, and it came bare rooted. All of these new roots that you see is what it's produced so far, and this pumice just holds enough moisture so that the orchid can drink and no more. And this one's been doing really well. One that has struggled a bit is the one up here, but that's not concerning me. It just needs time to produce these roots from its new growth. So there's this new growth here, and you can see right down in there. You can see another one. So the new growth has to put out roots to support the kind of shriveled leaves here, and it has dropped 2 leaves already off a couple of bulbs to preserve itself. But hopefully the old roots will be doing just a good enough job. And I didn't mess with the roots at all. It came as a cutting off a plant, and I think this is coming out of the pot, and they just cut that piece off. So these roots didn't have any medium on them at all. They were just dangling free. So it's all up to this new growth here to push out those roots as fast as possible, so it's able to take up some nutrients from the water that I give it, so they can, but this is how I'm going to grow my Cattleyas from now on, like that. This one's almost in 100% pumice. You can see down in the pot there, there's a little few chunks of coconut fiber, but mainly pumice. Big monster of a thing. And over here is Renee Marquise, and I've been looking around at that new pseudo bulb that I put out, and this is a very hardy orchid, Renee Marquise, in the heat, so it really surprised me. I didn't think it would do that well in the heat, but it did, and it grew a whole new pseudo bulb, and it didn't mind. The heat didn't bother it one bit, actually, but it did bother this one, which has no name. It's definitely a Cattleya, going by its growth, but it did lose its 2 new pseudo bulbs that it was trying to produce over the summer. It didn't like the heat, so that one would be going into the trees. The Totes bicolor, that one was in there. That one was put onto this mount and hung under the trees, and I did that in a jiffy because I noticed its new pseudo bulb stuff were kind of gone all soft and mushy, and that was through the heat stress. So that definitely will again hang under the trees. It's never going to go on the balcony again. There's some nice new growth it's been putting out over the summer as it hung under the tree. Hangs under a conifer, so it's produces really good shade for it and keeps it cooler. Yeah. So this is the update. This is Cattleya tenuata, which ironically its bulbs fatten right up only in the winter. They shrivel during the summertime, and it pushes out all its new growth during the winter. Bulbs fatten right up again, and then those new growths will mature over the summer, but it won't have much root action going there. And I think it still struggles with the heat, so it'll be going under the trees too. It'll have a wire hanger that I'll loop around the pot. Yeah, okay, so that's it. That's the update on how the orchids are doing, and they're doing really great. I never have expectations for anything really. I just do what I can, and when I do water them, I put these mounts into this small bucket. I take those out, of course, and then I put them in there with water and soak them. Sometimes I just do it over the tap, but I do take each orchid one by one to the tap, and I give it a good just using the straight warm tap water. I flush them out, and the reason why I do that is because I just don't want the excess mineral salts building up from fertilizers. I want it to flush out, and I always use my nose and sniff the medium, and if it smells clean, just like the bark of a going outside and smelling the bark of a tree after it's been wet, nice and clean, fresh smell, then everything's going well. That tells me that the pH is fine. Yeah, and then after that I give them the good water, which contains the liquid fertilizer, and of course it has a dechlorinizer that I put in the water that almost reacts instantly against chlorine and the other chlorine that I can't remember its name. There's another kind of chlorine that they use, and that neutralizes that too. Okay, all done. Hope you enjoyed watching this update, so you can see that everything's going well. There are other orchids, but I've run out of time because I don't want the video to go too long. It'll get boring. There's just one more there, Ultra Peacat, and it's Lycast. It has huge flowers, so that one's putting out a new bulb. It's been putting out a new bulb, and it does have big fire looking leaves on it. Okay, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Bye bye.